Are you ready?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
To post show. How's everybody doing? I am joined by Greg returning from last night to cover WrestleMania Night 2. And boy, let me tell you, WrestleMania did not end as happy as it did last year. But let me tell you, what a run by Cody Rhodes. John Cena is the new WWE champion, and we're going to talk about it in just a minute. But Greg, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Happy Easter, everybody. Like Wayne said, may not be the best ending that people were hoping for, but Cena wins, breaks Ric Flair's record. Got a 17-time world champion, John Cena. And I think, this Mania, I felt like Night 2 was a little bit of the opposite of Night 1, where I felt like midway through was earlier matches were better, and then the main event was a good match. We'll talk about it in a few moments, but just the ending of it, like Wayne said, I think people are going to have some reactions to
that. we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna talk Cody Rhodes versus John Cena first. That main event. But for those of you guys that are watching, I already see comments already. That's more than we had last night. But anyway, drop your comments. We want to hear what you guys think about the Cena win. We want to hear what you guys thought about WrestleMania overall. Not a bad WrestleMania by any means. I don't know how you follow WrestleMania 40, but WrestleMania 41 was pretty decent. The storytelling was there. The anticipation was there. All in all, a pretty good Mania. I can't believe 41 is come and gone just like that. And I'm already thinking ahead to WrestleMania 42, New Orleans. But we got quite a ways from that to go. A lot has to happen between now and then, and a lot will happen between now and then. We're going to talk about where we're going to go from there, from tonight, that is. But let's jump right in. New WWE champion John Cena. Not the result that we were really looking for. And I was really looking for, to be honest with you. I mean, hello. I'm a huge Cody Rhodes supporter. He had a good title run. For the most part, he only had 9 title defenses over the past year that they mentioned. And, I mean, I guess that seems like a small number of matches, but it didn't really feel like it because Cody Rhodes was always on TV. He was a very present champion, which I really enjoyed over the past year. But 9 title defenses, I guess it kind of sounds about right, once a month. And then, he had that tag match, the Survivor Series, so that wasn't really a title defense there. But I don't think they're counting like the house shows and stuff like that. But so I want to run a statistic by you guys. Is that technically Ric Flair has 22 world titles, but WWE only recognizes 16. I don't know the exact reason for that is. I got to dig deeper. Maybe Ric Flair, some of those titles were from NWA or before NWA or something. I got to really dig deep into that. But technically, Ric Flair is a 22-time world title holder, so Cena does not technically have the record. But to the fans that really don't know better,
there's one title reign that him and Harley Race decided to switch overseas.
Yeah,
and so he lost the title to Harley Race and won it back from Harley Race overseas, and so that's one of the title reigns that's not recognized. But him and Harley Race decided to do it, so that's one of them. But yeah. There's some additional ones that they don't recognize as well.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So then maybe they shouldn't recognize some of Charlotte Reigns' title reigns, but
yeah, well, just like the WWE doesn't recognize Bob Backlund's title loss as well. He had a title loss, in Japan, and WWE doesn't recognize that either. To Antonio Inoki.
I was looking for a lot of stuff to happen during this match. When Travis Scott came out, I'm like, oh boy, his music hit, and I'm like, okay, here comes the cinema now. And then I'm waiting for somebody else to come out, and then I'm waiting for a big like Avenger style type of match like we got out of nowhere last year, but that didn't happen. Travis Scott was enough to distract Cody, and Cena hitting Cody with the belt. And Greg, you take it from here. What were some of the moments that you liked about this match? I mean, Cena clearly cheated to win. He's the heel. I probably should have seen it coming a little bit better. That Cena was. I probably should have seen the writing on the wall a little bit better. That Cena was going to win, but I honestly just didn't want it. So, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that this is the right move? Do you think that Cody Rhodes should get the win back? In my opinion, he should. I mean, you should not leave the company and then not give the win back and put over your top guy. But what do you think, Greg? Where do we go from here?
I think he'll get the win back. I don't think it'll be at the next pay-per-view or the next couple pay-per-views.
That's one, yeah.
So, but I think eventually he'll get the win back. But 25 minutes and 5 seconds, so 25-minute main event. I thought that that early, I would say the early attitude adjustment from the middle rope kick out by Cody led me to believe that the finish was going to be much better than it was. I was like, wow, if they're doing this, attitude adjustment off the middle rope and having a kick out, then that means that, The Rock's going to come out, maybe Taker coming out like similar to last year, since we know he was in the area. I didn't think Austin was going to come out again after last night. I thought he was, but once he came out, we'll talk about his accident that he had a little bit later. But once he came out, had the couple of beers, I didn't think you'd see him again. But I did think The Rock was going to come out. And similar to what you said, once Travis Scott came out, I thought that was the boo, Travis Scott's coming and then The Rock's coming later, or somebody, whoever that would be. So, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good match. A lot of finishes, a lot of false finishes. The whole dropping the title by Cody, to not hit Cena with the belt was to me a little bit reminiscent of Roddy Piper versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 8 a long time ago. Roddy's got the bell, doesn't decide to hit him. So I was thinking back to that moment, and I think it was a flat finish because everybody was expecting The Rock to show up or somebody in that spot. And when it wound up being Travis Scott, I think that was a little disappointing.
Yeah, we got a comment over here by Darren Medansky. It's so disappointing. Yeah, I mean, it looked like Cena was going to win. It looked like Cody was going to win at first. When, we realized Travis Scott wasn't going to get the best of Cody. And it just looked like momentum was there, but the referee was knocked out a second time. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, just everything heel Cena went over. I mean, listen, good for Cena 17 times. He breaks the WWE recognized record of Ric Flair. I guess they have to kind of just. I didn't really think that they would do it, but at least with Cena, maybe they were gonna have Charlotte Flair do it. But you know what? I guess just WWE just wants to get this out of the system and let Cena go off in the sunset and let it be. And Roman Reigns is going to have his time too eventually within the next 3 years. Roman Reigns got about 2 to 3 years left before he calls it quits there. So we know he's going to get a title eventually again. One last run. But this is part of Cena's farewell tour. He wants to do it all. He wants to be a heel to appease the fans. Become a champion one last time. I mean, I can honestly foresee Cody. This isn't over. This is not over by any means. I could definitely see Cody chasing again. A lot of times there's money in the chase. maybe a couple title defenses for John Cena to try to get a couple baby faces over. But I could see Cody getting a return match right around SummerSlam or so, or later in the year. You got to give that win back to Cody. I mean, you cannot let your best guy in the company, your babyface, your top merch seller in the company, lose to somebody that's on the way out. No, cannot do that. No way.
I would say one thing: good entrance by Cody. I thought the dirt bikes or the was pretty cool setup, or motorcycles. Prior that helmet that he had on with the mask separating, I thought was pretty cool gimmick over there. So cool entrance by Cody. To your point, I think he'll get the win back from Cena. I did think Cena was going to win. I thought he was going to break the record. But I did think it was going to be with, some, I would say, to Darren's point about being disappointing, it was going to be some more heavy artillery than Mr. Travis Scott.
Yeah. Pretty decent match. Cena looked all right. You can tell the style that he was working was kind of tailored to what he was kind of like physically limited to. Like, obviously, you're not going to see John Cena jump off the top rope and do a leg drop. You're not going to see John Cena jump onto the middle rope, jump off of it, and do a stunner anymore. He's not going to do those moves. So you could tell his move style was a little different, kind of catering to kind of like his limitations of what he can and can't do. But Cena dominated the middle part of the match, and then you see the Cody rally. And then right before that, we got Travis Scott coming in. I'm like, oh boy, this is where the cinema starts, and it's you can tell in the tone of my voice. I'm with you, Darren. I'm a little disappointed, but it shouldn't really be a shock either. And it's been a good year having Cody as the champion. So anyway, we're gonna probably return back to the Cody John Cena conversation a little bit later. We're going to get through the rest of the card. Excuse me. The match of WrestleMania Night 2 started really hot here. I got to be honest with you, Greg. I had a really good Easter dinner, and I was full. So come 7:00, I'm in my little recliner chairs, like one of those things, like video gaming chairs. I don't want. I can't really point to it right now, but I was pretty comfortable. I had my Easter dinner, put on WrestleMania, and I started dozing off. I started dozing off through arguably one of the best matches of the night. So I got to go back and watch it, but I did catch the last half of the first match, and boy, for what I saw of that match between Io, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca, was a banger. Absolute banger. What did you think of this match?
A really good way to start Mania. I think
Hot way.
we had talked yesterday about some potential outside interference, in this match. That didn't come to fruition.
No.
As far as some of the prospects that we had talked about yesterday, but 14 minutes and 8 seconds. Io Sky retaining, I think is pretty smart, given that she just won the belt not that long ago. Probably one of the, I would say she might be the best women's wrestler that they have, Io Sky. Really good finish. I think obviously, Rhea Ripley probably, still the number one draw in the women's division. So she was protected, in the finish of this match. I'm sure she's got some big storylines to come, but I think it was the right finish for Io Sky. And I agree with you. It was a good opener. Mr. CM Punk actually said yesterday, or I think it was 2 days ago in an interview, that he thought that this match should have been main evented night one. But I think they were in a good spot as the kickoff match.
Wow. I mean, if that's coming from CM Punk, I mean, that's definitely, it's pretty pretty legit. It was a great way to kick off night one. It set the tone for the night for the most part. The crowd was into it. It was a hot crowd. Um, you know, kind of throughout the night, but for this match, they were definitely into it. Um, Let me see what I got here. But yeah, first match of the night, great way. Io had never won at WrestleMania, so this is her first WrestleMania win. So that was pretty interesting. Michael Cole made sure to let the fans know that little statistic. But yeah, we saw some pretty good things. Like Io countered Rhea's Riptide. Bianca nearly won with her KOD. But Rhea Ripley had broken it up, so that was a nice little spot there. Io had hit the over the moonsault on Belair as Bianca Belair was trying to pin Rhea Ripley, so that was a nice visual too as well. And then Io gets the win following that. This was kind of like a non-stop match too. There was really no slow points to this. From what I saw, again, I was kind of dozing off for like the first 8 to 10 minutes because I was really tired and full. But yeah, the fans looked into it. The ladies worked very hard. Great way to start the night. Io's stock is kind of rising back up a little bit, which is good. Bianca Belair was kind of acting heelish too, as well. So that's something to keep an eye on moving forward. So all in all, good match. I think the women really killed it this year at WrestleMania. The women, none of the women disappointed. Well, we'll talk about the tag match a little later. But none of the women really disappointed this year. But moving on, we're going to talk about Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest, the Sin City street fight. I really enjoyed this. Like it was a really good car crash. We see Drew McIntyre get the win as expected, but there was some pretty good visuals here. They worked nonstop, and the Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest had a lot to follow up after that first match with the women. What did you think of this match?
I thought it was a really good match. 13 minutes and 56 seconds. Like you said, Drew McIntyre gets the win. I thought he was going to get the win going in. I do think he's going to get another run at the title. I said earlier, him and Jey Uso have a really long storyline dating back to early last year in 2024, right before McIntyre's heel turn. Some of that started with Jey Uso getting a title shot that McIntyre thought was his title shot. So it makes sense. Seth Rollins is another guy that I think may be in contention for that belt, but cool entrance by McIntyre. One thing I did leave out in the first match is I did think that Bianca Belair had a pretty cool entrance, with Mania, and so did McIntyre. I felt like in this match, and obviously Priest had a great entrance too. Being if you're a metal fan, you got a Slayer musician playing Damian Priest out to the ring. So two cool entrances for Mania for this match, and I think anytime McIntyre does that dive over the top rope, that's a very cool spot, reminiscent of the Undertaker to me. As far as how many guys that I've seen that big be able to dive over the top rope. So it's cool that McIntyre takes that out. Damian Priest, I think, went to the next level once he was the champion. I felt like when he became the champion, I was like, I don't know. But when he was the champion, he started getting a lot better. I felt like, and I think this match delivered. As far as you said, they brought out a lot of spots. One interesting thing that I don't know if you picked up on was the Spanish announce table and the English announce table being reversed. Typically, the Spanish announce table is on the left side and the English announce table is on the right side. I'm not sure why they were switched up, in this spot. But I like the smaller announce tables, giving them more room to work on the outside. I don't know if that's going to be a permanent thing or if that was just for WrestleMania. But I do like that. And I hope that is something they keep.
Yeah, very unique tables that they did this year. It's pretty cool with the design and stuff. WWE is always trying to try new things aesthetically. That's what I love about WWE. They always try to stay ahead of the competition, so to speak, as far as aesthetics, and they're always one step ahead of the competition for sure. So they're always trying to do new things, to kind of change things up a little bit, especially under Triple H's regime. They always like to try new things, so I'm cool with it. Whether it be entrances, the ring mats, the aprons, the ringside barriers, it's all pretty cool. It's good for the visual. With Drew, we see Drew. He came out as the Doomsday, the Doom guy, aka Doomslayer, which I thought was pretty cool. You could tell, I think Drew McIntyre made me get a little annoyed with the outfit because he was getting caught up in the rope and stuff, trying to get into the ring. So I noticed that, like, he was like throwing this stuff down, like all pissed and everything. But we saw Drew doing a flying swanton over the top rope. Someone who's 280 pounds should not be doing something like that, but he did, and he got it. He got over. He even got over the top rope better than Jey Uso did a couple weeks ago. So, that was a cool little visual. Damian Priest's Razor's Edge, putting a Razor's Edge on Drew McIntyre through the table. That was a very, very good visual too. That was fun to see. So that was a nice little spot. And then we see Priest taking too much time walking on the top rope, and then Drew pushed him off the top rope onto the outside through the tables. So that was a really interesting bump there as well. And then we see the chair that's already planted in the corner in between the turnbuckles, and Damian Priest claymores Drew McIntyre claymores Damian Priest's head right into the chair, and he gets the win. So a fun little match, street fight. I have no problem with it. I guess in the upcoming weeks we'll see what it achieves. I would expect Damian Priest. Drew McIntyre to probably get featured as one of Jey Uso's next opponent. So we'll have to see from there. For those of you guys that are watching, feel free to leave your comments. We want to hear what you thought about WrestleMania, what you thought about the John Cena versus Cody Rhodes title change tonight, and what you thought about WrestleMania overall. Leave some comments. We want to hear, what you thought about tonight. Then we had the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker defending against Penta, Finn, and Dom Dom. Pat McAfee was kind of funny with the whole Dubai thing. I don't know if you caught his commentary there.
Yeah, he was, I think McAfee's been, a good announcer. But this match, I was looking forward to this match a lot. I think Braun Breaker has been really good, as far as in that role. I think as far as Dom winning the match, that was the right thing for this match, to have Dom win it. Cool entrance by Dom, coming out with the Lucha Libre mask, 10 minutes and 31 seconds, victorious in this match. I thought there was some cool spots with Breaker as well earlier on. Breaker showed some, good power moves. Speed always amazes me at Breaker.
Yeah.
Unbelievable athleticism. One of the quickest guys you've ever seen in a ring. In this match, showed some of that off. So I would say good match, with Dom going over. You got that storyline in place with Finn Balor, where it looked like Finn Balor was going to steal Dom's spotlight, coup de grace, and then Dom hits him, for the frog splash. And, I think that, most likely will be the next pay-per-view, Dom versus Finn Balor, but more to come there.
Yeah, I am fully expecting a Judgment Day implosion here. I'm also fully expecting a possible new member to, emerge from this somehow. Maybe even, like you said, because I think one would assume that Finn would be taking on Dominic at Backlash. Maybe we get a new member that arises out of that, like an interference or something to that effect. But Dom Mysterio has been getting very much over with the crowd. Like he gets booed a lot every time he touches the mic, but it's honestly like not like go away heat. I think it's like more of an endearment I think the fans truly love Dom, and he's grown on. He was greener than grass when he first came in 2020, and the fans were just not. They weren't having it. Like there's something was kind of missing, and this whole Judgment Day thing really, really launched Dominic's career. And look where he is now.
George Kittle was very happy with the outcome of this match, and by the end of WrestleMania, I think he had about 6 or 7 beer cups. So he seemed to be stacked up like I used to do when I went to concerts when I was younger. So glad to see George Kittle as a regular guy. As a Kansas City Chiefs fan, not really the biggest 49ers fan, although we did beat them twice in the Super Bowl. So if you're listening from San Francisco, sorry about that. But Kittle, I think, would be a cool guy to hang out with. So give him some credit, but he was very happy with Dominic Mysterio winning.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was too, and I kind of had him predicted to be the winner here. I mean, you could have stated a case for anybody to win this match, and Braun Breaker could have retained the title, and I would have been happy with it as well. But it looked like just like the momentum, the storyline with Judgment Day being a focal point, talking about new leaders and stuff like that. I felt like Dom was going to win, and I feel like this is going to be a Judgment Day implosion of some sort, or Finn's going to leave or get kicked out of Judgment Day. I feel like something's going to be happening between now and Backlash for sure. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, this match was brought to you by Dude Wipes. The commentary by Pat McAfee was pretty funny. I think he went on to say most people dump dirty Doms into the toilet. Where does he come up with this stuff? But this match went from 0 to 60 right away. Like they wasted no time heating this match up, which I thought was pretty cool, to be expected because of the work rate of Braun Breaker and Penta. So great IC title match for sure. Braun Breaker, he was featured very well. He was tearing up his opponents for a little bit, and for a while Dom and Finn were working well together, and then not so much when it came towards the finish. And like you said, they were kind of preventing each other from winning. And then, like you said, the Finn Balor with the coup de grace, then Dominic interrupting that with the frog splash and then getting the win. So that was pretty cool from there. So now we have to, for those of you guys that are watching, feel free to leave comments of what you thought about WrestleMania tonight. We'd love for you to join the conversation. So we want to know what you guys thought about tonight in WrestleMania between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. That match too as well. We want to hear your thoughts. But tonight we had Randy Orton versus mystery opponent. Okay, so with this, I had Rusev as a possibility. I had Aleister Black as a possibility. I also had Solo Sikoa as a possibility because he really had nothing to do. And Joe Hendry came across my mind maybe once, but to me, it wasn't really like my serious pick. Like I would have had him like in the top 10 as possible opponents. But when Joe Hendry came off and his music hit, I was shocked. Like I was very surprised. Because this is a spot where you should have had a Rusev come out since he's already signed with WWE. You could have had Aleister Black, but he's already advertised supposedly for SmackDown on April 25th. But actually, if you guys just to entertain you guys a little bit, my reaction to this, if I can find it. Now, you know what? I have a lot of reaction videos tonight, and I can look through it right now. But actually, no. But anyway, I was pretty surprised. And, Joe Hendry had a nice little showing. I think they featured him well. The crowd loved Joe Hendry. The presentation, I mean, he's like an IWC sensation. And then I think that's why Triple H kind of brought him in, because of the hard work that he's put in getting over and the work that he's done on TNA. And I think, like, even though Joe Hendry is not officially part of the company, but with the partnership, Triple H recognizes Joe Hendry's hard work. And I guess wanted to, kind of reward him a little bit, so to speak. But this was, if I can pull up my reaction, I'll try to show you guys. But I don't have it uploaded to the computer. But let me see. Let's see what we got here. In WrestleMania 38, when Cody came out to face Seth. They're really, really playing up the surprise now. Who's it going to be? Whoa, Joe Hendry! He was... Wow! That was my real-time reaction. I did not see Joe Hendry coming. Again, when I brought up Joe Hendry's name a couple days ago, like it was just kind of like a joke. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe Joe Hendry, whatever. Like I wasn't serious or anything. I was really leaning towards Rusev. But yeah, so it was a nice little surprise for the fans, and I guess Triple H knew. What did you think of Joe Hendry being the guy and the match? I thought it was pretty funny what Randy Orton did to him with the RKO's, and that was the greatest out of nowhere RKO I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think Joe Hendry was a good reaction. I thought the crowd was into it. 3 minutes and 9 seconds, a little bit shorter of a match, than maybe you would have liked. RKO out of nowhere, really cool. I would still say the best RKO out of nowhere was the shooting star press into the RKO. That to me was, probably tops, but this is up there with it. And I think, Orton getting the strong win. I could see Orton Backlash. If you haven't seen the poster for Backlash, it's in St. Louis, has
Yes.
Orton cover. Could be
Yep.
Orton Cena one last time. One of Cena's biggest rivalries of his career. You got his last run. You got baby face Orton. You got him with the win over TNA champion Joe Hendry. And maybe they go to Cena versus Orton one final time next month. So like you said, RKO out of nowhere. And then, after the match, reels him in for...
That was a really good RKO though, because of the production. The camera was so zoomed in on Joe Hendry's smile, and then all of a sudden you see the art. You don't even see Randy Orton coming. You just kind of it just happened so quick. You dropped like that. I felt like this was one of my favorite RKOs ever, to be honest with you. Like it caught me by surprise.
Yeah, and
from a wrestling standpoint, though, like the one with the shooting star with Evan Bourne, I thought was great, and the one in WrestleMania 31 with Seth Rollins and that opening match between Randy Orton and Seth, or that maybe that was the second match, I forget, but yeah, those are from a wrestling standpoint, those are the two best ones. But I think this one, from a visual production standpoint, I think this was my favorite RKO I've ever seen. But anyway, pretty good, Randy Orton got his shine, he got his match. He's going to be on the card for St. Louis. I suppose maybe he'll go against Cena. For that, I was thinking maybe that Randy Orton and Cena could be more of like a December type of thing, last match. But yeah, whatever they got in mind. Cena's going to be around for a little bit. He's going to be showing up on like a bi-weekly basis, so I guess I'm okay with that. I mean, we dealt with a number of times of Roman Reigns being out 3 months, 4 months at a time with the belt, and Lesnar never being around. So I'm pretty sure we can survive a Cena reign showing up once every 2 weeks or so. But anyway, and it just gives more time for other wrestlers to build up. But all right, we got Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. I mean, I don't want to say this match was really filler, but it kind of was in a way. Great wrestled match that we saw between the two of them. It did not disappoint. We saw some outside interference, distracted AJ Styles, costing AJ Styles the win, with Logan Paul getting the win there, with carrying Cross trying to convince AJ Styles to take the brass knucks that Logan Paul's friend Jeff was sneaking into ringside. and Karrion Kross put a stop to that, but gave those knuckles. I wanted to give those knuckles to AJ for AJ to do it himself, and I guess he's just trying to pull out an evil side out of AJ Styles, and but that distraction ended up costing AJ the match. Logan Paul wins. The right guy won here for sure. And what did you think of this match? I felt like it didn't overdo its stay. I felt like it wasn't that long. It served its purpose. What did you think of this match?
Yeah, I mean, 17 minutes and 49 seconds. Like you said, Logan Paul gets the win versus AJ Styles. I think there's a couple of spots that they felt just a little bit off. If you go back and watch where they just weren't as smooth as could be. Couple of, I think just missed up, but all in all, like you said, I think it was a good match. AJ Styles, one of the last WrestleManias you may see him. He says he's not going long into 50. So actually had planned originally on doing a farewell tour, but then got hurt. So you may only see him a couple more years. But Logan Paul still amazes me. His natural just ability to be a pro wrestling heel. Just obviously, the gimmick, the wrestling athleticism on it. He's just a natural. Very few people ever come in, this industry and deliver like Logan Paul does in the big match, with everything, not just the in-ring, but the visual, his reactions, and just his attitude in the ring. Obviously, I did like the Styles Clash into the Styles Clash. Probably, one of my favorite parts of the match. Frog Splash. I would dare anybody to tell me someone that does a better Frog Splash than Logan Paul. I don't know too many people that get higher than he has, on his Frog Splash. More of a D'Lo Brown lowdown style.
I would think Montez Ford gets pretty high up there.
Montez Ford probably, yeah, that's probably a good comparison.
Maybe the only other person though.
Yeah, probably the only other person, and similar to I think it's more the D'Lo Brown style lowdown Frog Splash than the Eddie Guerrero or RVD Frog Splash. But Logan Paul with the win. Interested to see what he does next. A lot of options for him, and also what AJ Styles does next, because still a guy that can deliver on the big stage.
I would like to see. I would like to see an in-between feud, Cody versus Logan Paul.
That would be great. That's a good idea. I think that would be
just a little in-between feud. Just give Cody a break from the title run for a little bit, and then have him start chasing, more towards this, summer. Logan reminds me a little. He has characteristics of an Owen Hart. As far as like his mannerisms and stuff like that, he reminds me of a young Owen Hart, like the young heel Owen Hart, like 94, 95 version of Owen Hart. And so I like Logan Paul because of that. Good heel. Next up, we got the WWE Women's Tag Team match, title match that we had. Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Lyra and Becky Lynch. I don't know if you noticed, like they did the two surprises, the reveals, the same exact way. With focus, like they focused on the entrance and like they paused. They had the camera on the entrance, waiting to see who comes out. Anyway, I kind of speculated it was gonna be Becky Lynch. I was not surprised by any means, due to the fact we knew that Becky was in Las Vegas. First of all. I believe she was at the Hall of Fame. I really didn't really know like who else like Lyra Valkyria could really choose in this spot. So I was kind of leading with Becky Lynch here. Anything else anybody else would have been a surprise. Good to see Becky back. I suppose she's going to stick around a little bit because they are the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions in a pretty good match that we saw there. Greg, were you surprised about Becky Lynch being? Before you answer that question, I had um Liv Morgan and Raquel, winning this match, especially because Lyra's already an intercontinental title holder. She already has a belt. Why does she need a tag title belt? So I was thinking, maybe they weren't going to win this match, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised after this morning listening to some other shows and stuff about Becky Lynch. This pretty much seemed to be the plan. As far as going back, quite some time, where it was going to be Becky Lynch. So there's no injuries in this. This was Becky Lynch's spot. One thing, 8 minutes and 43 seconds. I loved the facial reaction when it was Becky Lynch. And they shined on the ring. The heels did a great job with their, surprise, that it's Becky Lynch scared,
Yes.
for her. She, a little bit, it's been a while since she's been there and she didn't show any ring rust. They already have their next opponents, in NXT. They will be wrestling in NXT. So nice storyline here for Becky Lynch. I'm curious how long it takes for her to move into the title picture for the women's title. Probably could see her doing that by SummerSlam, potentially, because you're going to have a star of the caliber of Becky Lynch. But Liv Morgan, her facial reaction, if you go back and watch what it was, Becky Lynch's announced, it was really good reaction by her to sell, obviously the fear of, the man, Becky Lynch, returning. I think you said it. The women's definitely over delivered, and some upcoming storylines where you already know the next match. And I agree with you. I think she's here to stay. Don't believe what you hear wrestlers say. Becky Lynch recently said that she doesn't plan on returning anytime soon, and she returned a couple weeks later. So there you go.
Yeah, you know what it was? A couple months ago, I heard that, it was like there were just a lot of contract negotiations. I'm very curious as to what deal Becky Lynch signs, and I guess that news will come out, eventually. But I'm very, excuse me, it's late. I'm very curious as to what deal. But as you guys know, Becky Lynch is one of my favorites. That was me and her at a book signing in Connecticut. Got her autograph at RJ Julia in Connecticut last year, and that was WrestleMania week. So she's such a good down to earth person. Becky Lynch is. What a sweetheart! Like when you go to her autograph signing, and those of you guys are watching, if you guys catch her autograph signing at like a Fanatics or WWE World or something, like she's one you definitely want to meet because she's very genuine and she acts like she genuinely wants to be there and meet you. So Becky Lynch is awesome. I'm glad to see her back. Hopefully she'll be around. Maybe she's got a couple of years. So we got to keep in mind, like, I think what we have now with Becky Lynch, guys like AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, KO if he comes back, Sami Zayn, who else? I said AJ already, but some of these guys, like these names I just mentioned, we better start appreciating what we have now with them because we probably have, let's just say, out of all the names, maybe 3 to 5 years left, if that, with each of them, for sure. You got Braun Breaker, he's going to be up and coming. Tiffany Stratton, great gritty performance yesterday. She's going to be she's going to be around through to the WrestleMania 50s. Same thing with Braun Breaker. A lot of good up and comers. Obafemi from NXT. He's going to be a big guy in the WWE roster. So yeah,
the dichotomy between the wrestlers are making more money now than they've ever made before, and they're working less dates. So does that give them a good amount of money to retire young? Or do they say, well, I'm not really wrestling that many dates, making all this money, so I'll extend my career longer? Interested to see that. I think going back to your point you made in the beginning of the show with Cody, that's one of the reasons why he doesn't have that many title defenses is I don't know if they're including house shows, but they really don't do that many house shows. anymore. That's something that
True.
they've scaled
Yeah.
back of with TKO. So
I think they kind of do like the live shows especially when they go overseas.
when they go overseas, yeah. But still, it's one of those things that they are making. Like you go back 4 or 5 years ago, maybe about 6 years ago, there weren't a lot of wrestlers making like 5 million. Now you have guys that are in the mid card making about 5 million a year, and so and working less dates than in the past. And obviously these matches, I mean, they take a toll on their body a lot more than obviously the old school matches where you put a headlock on and drop on the mat for 5 minutes. So it'll be interesting. It's wanted to check back and see 10 years from now, do you have more guys wrestling in their 50s than they did now, or are they retired young sitting on $25-30 million? We'll see.
Listen, these wrestlers, they got to make a little bit more money, especially what they put their bodies through. But they're also responsible for booking their own travels. That's why you see a lot of wrestlers traveling together in rental cars to save money. And that's like that in every organization of wrestling when you're traveling from city to city constantly. WWE doesn't pay for all the transportation. They're responsible for. I think WWE reserves like the hotel rooms to the wrestlers, but as far as the travel goes, like they're responsible for booking their own travel. And WWE, gives an allotment for that, but they're responsible for booking their own travels, airports, flights, rental cars, and stuff like that. So and I'm not even too sure how the health insurance is, to be honest with you, but they're not unionized either. So so it's a good thing that they're making more money in less dates. It's less wear and tear on their bodies, and the wrestlers are actually saving more money too as well. In between, I would imagine. I would hope, but
Less of those bar bills that Ric Flair was wrapping up.
Yeah, well, imagine an Andre the Giant barbell. Like he would. There was a statistic where like Andre the Giant would drink like 100 like beers or something, or 100 ounces or something crazy in one sitting. Like it is totally absurd amount of alcohol that no human should ever put in their body. But let's just say if any one of us drank the amount of Andre the Giant did, we'd be dead. We'd be dead. We'd have to have a stomach pump. It would just be ridiculous. Oh man! Like I'm done after 3 drinks.
And you got to transition of drinking to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah. He didn't even chug. He just like dumped it all over his face. He didn't even chug anything. Oh boy. Oh man. Those of you guys that are watching, we have a few minutes left. Feel free to drop some comments. We want to know what you thought about WrestleMania. Greg, my question to you, and I always pose this question after WrestleMania. Let me see. This is 2020, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is the 5th or 6th post WrestleMania show that we've done. This is I believe our 6th Mania. I'm gonna get to that comment in a second, actually. So where do we go from here? This is the question I always ask. Where do we go from here? How do you continue the booking? And what do we do for WrestleMania 42?
Well, I think it's amazing that we're at WrestleMania 41. First WrestleMania I watched live was WrestleMania 5, Mega Powers Explode. So as a kid, so this is your 6th Mania on this podcast. Congratulations again. But like I said, WrestleMania 5. So dating back since then. I think, as far as the future for WWE, that even though The Rock didn't show up, that's still, in the storyline. He's still, a board member, obviously. So I think that's somewhere where, they're probably going to go at some point in time. I think, obviously Cena's closing out. I know AJ lost, but you still have AJ and Cena. That I still think that was Cena's last best match of his career was with AJ. Yeah. So I think you can go to AJ down the road. I think you have to go to Punk at some point. And Cena, one of Cena's best matches of his career was Chicago Money in the Bank. You have the AAA announcement for WWE. Another announcement today, putting if you're in LA in June, probably a really cool double feature to see. You go to see at 3:00. You go see the
Worlds
When
Collide.
Worlds Collide, and then you have the Money in the Bank across the city. At night. And for those of you that watched the first Raw on Netflix, that dome, the Intuit Dome in LA, is the #1 arena that I've seen in the world. No arena has topped that.
I want to go. I want to go. I don't think I can swing June, but I
But
really want to
real
go.
quick, one thing that you have to mention about WrestleMania, one of the biggest stories was for a long time I've been saying that Stone Cold hits those corners on that quad very tight, and he hit in and took a fan. If you noticed, she was very shaken up. You see the CEO Nick Khan going up to her. I was thinking in my head, she may have hit her Money in the Bank early with that. She had a boyfriend or a fiance or a significant other or just a friend that didn't seem to want to leave before the main event. Austin went up to her. Nick Khan went up to her. She seemed to be okay. We wish her, obviously the best. I noticed that after those.
She's gonna get free wrestling tickets for life because of that. She's gonna get the free front row to every WrestleMania now. Just watch.
I did notice after Stone Cold chugged the beers, he did not operate a machine as he walked to the back. Did not drive the quad back. I think that would have been video evidence of drinking and driving, which could be used against them. So we wish her the best as she hit her Money in the Bank. As far as obviously her male friend will say put his flag down, saying that he wasn't there. One other thing that I think is so cool. I'll still argue to anybody, and I was a huge Hulkamaniac. I was a huge fan of Bret Hart, but I've always say the best all-around wrestler of all time is Randy Macho Man Savage when it comes to in the ring, on the mic, charisma. I don't think anybody checked the boxes like he did. The number of fans that come dressed up as Macho Man is amazing. You had somebody in the first row dressed up as WrestleMania 7 Macho Man yesterday. Today he was dressed up as WCW Macho Man in the first row. But I think, but going back to the question that you asked, where you go from here, I think there's a lot of good. I mean, you already know that you're going to have a women's title match on NXT coming up. I think, Cena's run now. The question I have, and this is the last thing I'll leave it with before we get, before Wayne, you talk about where we're going to go. Do we see the spinner belt return for John Cena?
Maybe it's possible. It's very possible. I mean, I'm interested to see where John Cena, how he follows up with his statements. I'm going to ruin wrestling. This belt is going to be retired. Blah 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 blah. I'm interested to see where he goes with that. So it's very possible.
Yeah, and I wasn't a fan of the spinner belt, by the way, but I do think nostalgic purposes, the amount of money that they charge for belts now, that could really launch some sales if they put the spinner belt. They could work that in with the different teams that they have, different, football, baseball. I think they're even doing European football now, as far as, soccer overseas. The Premier League, I think they signed a contract with, to do those. So you can see the spinner belt there. But like I said, I think you're going to see Orton at some point with Cena. You're going to see AJ with Cena. And like I think you said earlier on, you're going to see Cody against Cena.
Cody's got to get that win back. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. For the title, too.
He does, and I do want to see. Do you see a Cody versus a Gunther match? I want to see at least a couple of those. Where do you see a Cody versus a Braun Breaker match? Those are some matches that
I think they're really saving those. To be honest,
yeah, and
I think they're really saving those for the future fantasy matches.
Yeah, and this is the chance to see him now because he says this is it at the end of the year. So, at some point, they never say never in wrestling, so you never know. But he seems to be convinced that by December of this year, that's going to be all they wrote for Cena.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the way it is. I mean, like I said, like the way Cena was working tonight, his in-ring style was definitely much more tamed. You didn't see him jumping off top ropes or anything like that. He's getting old. He was pretty much well grounded for the most part.
And we have Jeff Cobb debuting coming up. We got Aleister Black,
Rusev.
We got Rusev. I think you're going to see Trick Williams come up to the main.
I think he's coming up, and Roxanne, I believe, is coming up too.
Yeah, and Trick Williams, load of charisma.
Yeah.
I've heard comparisons with Cena, where
he's all right. I mean, he's okay.
A little bit limited in the ring. Against the right opponent, he's good. But again, so was Cena at one point in time. So you never know what the future holds. But yeah, Rusev, Aleister Black, Jeff Cobb, and then where The Rock works in, is going to be huge. And to your point on Cena, as far as talking about earlier on too, the guy was filming a movie in the Sahara Desert a week ago, as from Triple H. So you go from filming a movie. And one thing of interest is he did show up. He had a little bit of a cut under his eye. I don't know if that was from filming a movie, showing up there. But it was funny because it was the same eye that Hogan had, black eye. It wasn't a black eye. It was just a cut under his eye, though.
Yeah. Really quick, for those of you guys that are watching on Instagram, because I know we're also on Instagram live right now, that is going to cut off in about 3 minutes or so. So you're going to want to switch over to the YouTube channel if you want to continue watching, because we're definitely going to go over the 3-minute mark from this point. So make sure you guys switch over so you don't miss out on the very end. So that's going to happen in 3 minutes. Instagram live is cutting out. Come over to the YouTube channel. This way you can continue to listen to the rest of this as we start coming in for landing. So here we go. Next year, I'm going to call it now. Somehow we get to Rock versus Roman Reigns. We get to that match. The fans have been wanting it. Triple H is a big fan of giving people what they want. So I think we're going to finally get there. How we get there, I'm not entirely sure, because now you have Roman Reigns kind of in this feud with Paul Heyman and Punk and Seth. So it might not be something that's going to be built right away. I think it's going to be something that's probably visited a little later on. But I believe we're going to get to that Rock Roman Reigns match next for sure. I don't know where they go with anything else. I'm usually pretty good at calling this stuff. I mean, for the long term of what they'll do next year, but I really have nothing right now except for like Rock Roman. I would probably expect, Cody and Gunther, not necessarily one-on-one against each other, but them to have prominent spots in matches next year. Maybe we could get Cody versus Rock.
The rise of Fatu, Jacob Fatu. This is going to be
this year is going to definitely be the rise of Fatu for sure.
Yeah, that's going to see. He's got the U.S. title, and I would say as far as both nights of Mania, the one match that over delivered to me the most was Jacob Fatu and LA Knight. One of the better matches of the two nights. I think this is going to be his rise and you could put him in the mix, and you could put him up against anybody that you've mentioned.
And we're going to see the rise of Braun Breaker. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing him in the main event scene halfway through this year. Starting to get the taste of the main event.
My personal dream match right now of up-and-comers is Braun Breaker versus Gunther. I definitely want to see that match. Hopefully, next couple of years, you see that in a big stage.
Oh, yeah. That's happening. There's a reason why they keep certain wrestlers away from other wrestlers, because they save those matches for the fantasy booking, for later on. All right, so we got some comments here. Let's go. This WrestleMania fumbled. I wouldn't necessarily say it fumbled. I'm thinking maybe not enough happens, especially during the main event. Me personally, for the main event, I was expecting a little bit more brouhaha, so to speak. more Avengers style people interfering or whatever. And I was just I was expecting a little bit more of a screw job than what we saw. I mean, Cody kind of got screwed, but like I was expecting a screw job from like maybe like another a wrestler, or I was actually maybe even thinking of like a WrestleMania 9 finish. So there's a lot that they could have done that they didn't do, and they kind of kept it simple. So, but not really a lot happened as far as storyline progression goes. I mean, we got a lot of payoffs. We got a lot of good matches, so I'm not worried about that.
But I think to YK's point that it's sometimes how you finish. People forget about the rest of what came before. Knowing that they didn't have The Rock, and again, The Rock, you don't know when you're going to be able to get him for a show. Whatever his other commitments are. Obviously, very few people are as busy as he is. He's got a football league, he's got his movies, and that's going to play a factor.
Yeah.
I actually am probably going to be the first one to make this point. What they had, they probably should have put this match as the main event on night 1, and they should have put the triple threat match with the Paul Heyman on night 2, because I think people would have left yesterday with how they're feeling right now, and then yesterday they left really happy with that finish. I think that once they realized that they didn't have The Rock and this was going to be the finish, I personally think they should have switched it.
Yeah, you couldn't have really gone wrong there, for sure. I feel like the most talked about moment still might be the fallout from last night's main event for sure. So it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. I can't wait for their first promos. Let's see what else.
That was definitely the loosest crossroads that Cody did to Travis Scott that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
but at least this time Travis Scott felt like he knew where he was. At the Netflix one, I don't know what he was definitely seemed to be on another planet when it came to
for sure
doing well.
Yeah. Only good thing was Roman match and Cena winning was right, but match was not too good. The match was okay. It served whatever purpose that they were trying to get to, for sure. I thought the triple threat was great. I think the false finishes made it. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte was very good. The triple threat that opened up tonight for the women's title was very good.
Drew versus Priest.
Drew versus Priest was met, maybe slightly exceeded my expectation. But
and Gunther versus Uso obviously wasn't a classic, but it was
it wasn't great in the beginning, but once it started cooking, we were cooking.
And Jacob Fatu beating LA Knight.
That was a good match too. That was a very good match. There was a lot of good. Jade Cargill, Naomi was not that was a great match, but it met or exceeded expectations. So I was okay with that performance. So I mean, it all depends on how you view WrestleMania being fumbled. If it's in the way that maybe not enough happened storyline wise, or people turning heel face and interferences and stuff, okay, I guess we can agree on that. But as far as like the matches go, we got a lot of good matches and payoffs, for sure.
As far as fumbled goes, they made about over 40 something million in ticket sales for 2 nights. So you gotta say, I don't know if that's fumbling.
Yeah, the resale market was ridiculous.
And I've heard that the UFC record was 21 million for one night, and WWE last night surpassed that in ticket sales. So obviously UFC doesn't do too many stadium shows. So you do a stadium with $25,000 front row seats, you're going to hit that. I said it last night, I'll say it again. I loved the idea of having the seats inside of the Titantron backdrop over there, having the seats in there at the top, on the side, was great. And it's another comment in here. Everyone knew Becky was returning. That's a good point.
We all had an idea.
but it's not the wrong thing to do. You want to get that out. The man's returning. And now, how many of those people that knew she was returning is going to go out and watch NXT now, where you got a tag match already announced?
We got a comment from Seth. Hey, fellas, Seth here. Greg's bud from Seattle. Hey, Seattle's a great city, by the way. WrestleMania was okay. Could have been great. Predictability is okay when executed right. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could say that. I mean, predictability was very predictable at the end of night one last night, and it was done right. WrestleMania 40 ending, among others. I was there, and I absolutely loved that. Everyone saw the interference coming tonight for sure. I just didn't really know who. I felt like we were going to get more interference than we had tonight, but
Seth, thank you for jumping in. It was definitely a great comment.
yeah.
Okay, continued.
But then they missed. But they just missed on execution. However, Dom's pop tonight was awesome. Yeah, Dom has been getting a lot more pops lately in arena shows, and it definitely showed tonight. And I think it even shocked him, which was cool to see. Yeah, I mean, Dom is getting over. I mean, he maybe he turns face later this year. Who knows? I'm not too sure if I see that coming right now, but he's definitely getting cheered for a lot more.
A couple of guys got a win that they deserved. Where you got Seth, doing a couple of jobs we talked about yesterday, getting his big win. You had Dom doing how many jobs in the last year, putting a lot of people over. Even going back to putting CM Punk over when he first came back, doing great work. He gets a big win at WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre did amazing in that feud to keep CM Punk alive. He gets his big win at WrestleMania. So, although, obviously, seems to be a deflating ending given that hopes and, Travis Scott's got some tremendous heat right now. I think a lot of people would pay to see Cody Rhodes versus Travis Scott in a match. I don't want to see that match, but I think there's money in it, because of how much heat he has, especially for him being, that The Rock's the final boss. So you have Travis Scott coming out. You think you're going to hear the final boss's music, or we talked about Seth Rollins' music, yesterday, maybe it didn't hit. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
I was going to crash out if Cody retained. So happy Cena won. Why? I mean, Cody. I wasn't ready for Cody to drop this belt, man. Really was not. I feel like Cody had more legs under this title reign. Like, he didn't defend the title enough. He had 9 title reigns, and we could have seen Cody versus Orton. There's a lot of matchups we didn't see Cody feud with yet.
Yeah, I think you got a year title reign, and when we're talking about a year title reign not being enough, that's cool because it's a return to when titles mean a lot more with these longer title reigns versus when people held the title for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I like the long title runs. You had Reigns' historic title run, and then Cody followed it up with a year. Obviously, we don't think Cena's is going to be that long, given that he's leaving in December. So his won't be a year most likely unless he retires with a title, which we do not think.
Yeah, no. I mean, God forbid, he might even hold the title to December and then drop it on his way out. Jeez, that would be ridiculous.
I don't think so. I think he's going to face before he leaves.
I understand the whole 17th, championship win and whatever, but at the same time, like, we got to keep this product fresh. We got to keep it fresh, and I'm honestly done with the days of part-time champions. That's why we have 2 titles right now, by the way. It's because, Roman was champion. You'd want to show up like once every 3 months. And then Brock Lesnar never showed up the title. It was getting very frustrating for WWE fans that your world title was not on the show. So I'm done with the part-time champions. If you can't work full-time, you shouldn't be a champion. Plain and simple. And where was The Rock? Yeah, he's making movies, as far as we know. He has a very loaded schedule. I would expect him to be back sometime around this year. I'm thinking that, we're going to get Rock versus Roman Reigns next year. I mean, Greg, how long are they going to keep putting off Rock versus Roman Reigns? I mean,
definitely one of the matches. Obviously, Rock.
They can't wait too much longer. Rock is no spring chicken, and Roman Reigns is.
And Cody announced that The Rock has 2 matches left, and if I had to bet, I think it's against Cody and Roman. So, he said he's got 2 matches left on his contract. That's the 2 that against. I agree with you. It's got to be, within the next year or 2 years for Rock. You got New Orleans. I have to say, midway through WrestleMania, I was like I think some people said it ended flat, but midway through today, after the finish yesterday, the start today, I was pumped. I even looked up hotel prices for New Orleans next year. I found a hotel. I'm not going to reveal the name of it because I don't want all the people we have listening to jump in. But it was $183 a night in walking distance from the Superdome, 4-star hotel. I'm about 8 hours from New Orleans, driving distance. So I thinking about placing a refundable deposit for next year. New Orleans, still even with this finish, never been to the city of New Orleans. Magnificent Louisiana Superdome. Looking forward, to WrestleMania still, even with the finish tonight. Still a lot of directions they can go, especially if you can see Rock wrestling at the Superdome or the Silver Dome, as Hogan called it.
The Superdome was a little bit of a nightmare. I remember WrestleMania 30, like walking into the Superdome. First off, I mean, there was a lot of people ahead of us, granted, but walking into the Superdome, the doors open around 6, maybe. I would say around 6, and it took us all the way until the show started to finally get to our seat, because you walk in the concourse, the hallways are so narrow, nobody's moving, everybody's like walking around like this, and it was just very frustrating. And then the most frustrating part is you got to be careful where you book your seat at WrestleMania. If you don't care about seeing the whole stage, great, but we were able to see the whole ring, fine, no problem. But we were on the higher level of the first level. Okay, so we were under that. The nosebleeds hover over our heads, so we were under the nosebleeds. So that cut off the visual, the whole top half of the WrestleMania 30 entrance. And I was just so pissed. You can ask my buddy Joey. Him and I are going to All In Dallas, Texas, I believe, in July. We're just trying to figure out a couple of things, scheduling wise and work wise. But he was with me. He saw that I was pissed. Like, I couldn't even see half of the WrestleMania 30 logo of the entrance because we had this whole overhang from the 200s above us. And I eventually got over it, but I was not happy. I did not like that stadium. So if you're going to New Orleans next year, you make sure you kind of get a low 100s, or you just get the nosebleeds, because you do not want to be under the overhang and then have obstructive viewing of the stage. So that's my word of advice for New Orleans. The city of New Orleans was okay. Me being the religious guy that I am, I shouldn't even say that, but with church and everything, I walked down Bourbon Street, and the paraphernalia, like if you have kids with you, you better cover their eyes. Let's just say that. Like, all I know is like the moment I walked down Bourbon Street, my friends just kept going. I about face. I was like, "See you guys later." Not even walking down the street. And in this particular street is like the main tourist area of New Orleans. So, it just didn't. I mean, it just didn't. New Orleans didn't really hit for me, to be honest. And thank God, like we actually flew into New Orleans and we drove to Texas and we did a Texas tour for a couple of days. Then came back for WrestleMania weekend, which was that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we did like a road trip to Texas and came back. So New Orleans is not my favorite city, but then again, like the moment we got into New Orleans and by the stadium, I walked down Bourbon Street, I about faced, and I didn't have any interest of checking out the rest of New Orleans by any means. So who knows? I should have done my research better on that. Anyway, New Orleans is a thought for next year. We'll have to see. I mean, I do want to do SummerSlam in Minnesota next year. So we'll see what happens with that. And then not to mention SummerSlam coming up at MetLife Stadium. Those tickets go on sale April 29th. So we'll see what's going on with that as well. But that's pretty much all I got. All our comments are in. Greg, any last words? Any last comments at all?
No, thank you all for those that added comments. Remember to like and subscribe to for some great information. And in the immortal words of Bobby the Brain Heenan, where he used to say, "What's Nitro going to be like tomorrow night? What's Raw going to be like tomorrow night?"
I am very much looking forward to Raw tomorrow night. Let me see. What do we got here? Dominic's getting cheered more than ever right now. So we'll see where that goes for sure. But Raw, the Raw after Mania is usually the loudest Raw. It kind of hasn't been the same Raws after Mania ever since COVID started. I don't know if you've got that feeling. Like, I don't see as much as like the London people going wild on Mondays after Mania post COVID, to be honest with you.
I think with Triple H era, I think it's starting to return. Some of that's also the surprise element was taken away. But we already know about Jeff Cobb. I think Aleister Black is videos for SmackDown, so I don't think that will be on Raw. But I think with Jeff Cobb coming back, the Cena fallout, if that's going to be on Raw or SmackDown, more to come on that. But I expect it to be a very loud crowd tomorrow.
Yeah, should be good. I cannot wait. Potentially, we could be coming back tomorrow night with a post show. Maybe not. Maybe later in the week we'll figure out what the rest of the week is going to be like from there. But for those of you guys that are watching, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And those of you guys that have been with us Thursday night and last night, thank you so much. Please give us a share. Make sure you like the video. This will help out our algorithm for the YouTube. And those of you guys that are watching, we will see you guys most likely tomorrow, but if not, a little bit later in the week. We'll post up the video as soon as we can because we definitely want to have a conversation. We know it's going to be a big Raw tomorrow night, so we definitely want to cover that for sure. So be on the lookout for that. Greg, thank you so much for hopping on tonight. And those of you guys that are watching, thank you so much. And you all have a good night.
Agility from the champion. Oh,